In the chaos of war, survival depended on more than bravery. It demanded invention. When the cold bit through uniforms and rations froze solid, fire meant life. But out on the front lines, matches soaked, lighters jammed, and fuel ran dry. So soldiers turned to the unlikeliest of allies, a small tin labeled metal polish. It wasn't designed to burn. Yet, in the hands of desperate men, it became one of the most ingenious fire-starting tools of World War II. Imagine a platoon stranded in the Ardennes, snow piling on abandoned trenches, fingers too numb to strike a flint, uniforms soaked through with melting frost. A few embers could mean warm food, dry socks, a few hours of rest. But the field kits were empty. No lighter fluid, no dry tinder. What they did have were maintenance tins used to polish brass buttons and gun barrels. And from those, a spark of chemical ingenuity would emerge. It began almost by accident. During routine cleaning, a soldier tossed his oily rag near a lantern. Moments later, the rag flared up, burning with a slow, steady glow instead of a flash. What should have been harmless polish was hiding something volatile. Inside that tin lay a mixture of petroleum distillates, mineral spirits, and ammonia, compounds known for cleaning metal but also rich in hydrocarbons, the same family as kerosene and lighter fuel. That small flare would teach the troops a powerful lesson. Chemistry could save their lives. Pre-war metal polishes weren't gentle household cleaners. They were dense chemical pastes designed to cut through corrosion on brass and steel. The base ingredient, naphtha or kerosene, is a liquid hydrocarbon, easily evaporated, easily ignited. Mixed with fine abrasives and ammonia, it formed a semi-liquid compound that clung to cloth fibers. As the solvents evaporated, the remaining residue concentrated. Perfect fuel for a long, controlled burn. In chemical terms, soldiers had unknowingly created a hydrocarbon gel wick. Field mechanics were the first to test it. They dabbed polish on rags, waited for a minute, then struck sparks from steel tools. The cloth hissed, smoked, and finally caught. A blue-orange flame that clung stubbornly to the fibers. Unlike a match, it didn't blow out easily. Unlike a candle, it didn't drip or melt. It burned like a slow, living ember, exactly what was needed to coax damp wood into fire. From that point on, polish rags became quiet currency among units, traded between engineers, medics, and infantrymen. In North Africa, British tank crews polished shell casings until their hands reeked of solvent. They learned that the same rags could light cooking stoves when fuel tabs ran out. In the Arctic convoys, sailors trapped in freezing hulls used wads of brasso-soaked cloth to preheat engine valves, the only warmth in a steel labyrinth of ice. And in the jungles of Burma, where humidity killed every spark, soldiers wiped polish onto dry leaves, creating fire that survived the rain. Different worlds, same chemistry. A battlefield trick that crossed continents. What made this trick extraordinary was its consistency. The hydrocarbons in the polish soaked deep into the fibers, turning the cloth into a porous wick. When ignited, oxygen fed the burn from the inside, not just from the surface, like an oil lamp without the glass. The result? A flame shielded from wind and moisture. Even below freezing, the polish remained fluid, while ordinary alcohol or lighter fluid would thicken or fail. In essence, the rag became a miniature fuel cell, releasing heat slowly, predictably, and safely. Soldiers refined the idea with field ingenuity. Some rolled the treated cloth into tight cylinders and slid them into spent shell casings, making reusable burners. Others added traces of oil or powder residue for faster ignition. In the Finnish Winter War, troops blended polish with snow and motor oil, forming a crude fire paste that melted ice beneath logs. And aboard frozen ships, sailors packed it under tiny metal stoves, creating self-lighting heaters. No manual taught them this. It spread through rumor, experimentation, and sheer necessity. You won't find this trick listed in official military manuals. It lived in the margins, in the quiet wisdom passed between soldiers who'd seen too much cold. It wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't regulated, but it worked. And when you're half frozen in a trench or adrift on a convoy, working is all that matters. That's how real survival knowledge spreads, not through orders, but through experience shared in whispers. Today's metal polishes are safer, water-based, less toxic, and non-flammable. But the principle behind the wartime trick survives. Any thick, hydrocarbon-based compound, like petroleum jelly or wax mixed with a solvent, behaves the same way. Modern survival instructors call it a fuel rag or fire accelerant cloth. The method is simple. Apply, dry briefly, and strike with steel wool or flint. It burns hot, resists rain, and stores for years. It's the same chemistry, refined by time, but born from war. The story of the metal polish fire starter is more than a clever field trick. It's a symbol of human adaptability, proof that knowledge, not equipment, defines survival. Those who discovered it weren't scientists. They were mechanics, gunners, and medics, armed with curiosity and need. From a tin meant to shine metal came warmth, light, and the will to keep moving. It reminds us that invention often begins in discomfort, that when resources vanish, creativity ignites. In every flicker of that improvised flame, there's a story of chemistry, courage, and the quiet brilliance of those who refused to freeze. Because sometimes, the smallest spark carries the biggest lesson. Thanks for watching. If you found this story of ingenuity as fascinating as I did, hit that like button and subscribe for more hidden histories. See you in the next one.